Have you ever been in a church service and everybody is raising their hands like their team just scored a touchdown and you're thinking, man, should I be raising my hands? Are people more spiritual because they raise their hand? Are they closer to the Lord because they're raising their hand? Or are they just raising their hand to raise their hands? Well, we talk about this topic on this episode of Thrive and Dive. Let's dive into our first churchy thing that Christians do, and we'll try to figure out why we do that.
Yeah, let's go. So the first one is throwing up them hands.
Throwing up the hands like field goal?
Yeah. Goal? No.
Yeah.
But when we're praising the Lord,
Ooh.
especially during worship, and we're throwing up when you hit people, you see them, you go like these, or you get the full hands up.
Oh, shoot.
Like YMCA type
Like
vibes.
you can see their pity sweat hide.
Yeah, like I can
Yeah.
see it dripping.
Dude,
I can smell it too.
I was always, honestly, that's the biggest reason why I never raised my hands, because I was always self-conscious that people were going to see my pity sweat.
Yeah.
Because I sweat like crazy.
I'm not that bad of a swetter, so
Gotcha, but
that's you just hit the one arm.
the one arm to cover. I always wear big jackets when I go to church. I don't want people. But when I sweat through the jackets, that's even
Oh man,
worse.
note
Yeah.
to self, don't sit next to James.
Yeah, no, I have deodorant on standby. But okay, so why we raise them and praise them, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if you've ever been to a church service, whether you're a Christian or not, and you've gone to church, right, going to your local church, and you think, oh, this is going to be an awesome experience, I'm going to hear a great pep talk from some pastor that hopefully is smooth with the words, maybe a little funny, but, oh, we got to sing these songs before we hear the word? What's up with that, right?
Oh, I dreaded that.
And as you're singing, because for one, I don't have a good voice, right? And as you're just trying to kind of mumble the words, maybe you don't know the songs, it's like, okay. But then you look to your left while you're trying to stutter through the words, and to your left you have a guy, full hands praising the Lord, eyes closed, kind of rocking back and forth, and you standing there like, what in the world is going on? What is that man on?
Yeah, that's my reaction.
That's my reaction. That's
Sit next to Nate, Pastor Nate.
Shout out to Pastor Nate, man. Full hands up. Woo, let's go. Yeah. So obviously, like you mentioned, there's some different positions people have, right? I've always heard that this position is like you got a cake in your hands, you're about to put it in the oven,
Forgot
right?
about that one.
Yep. And when
Maybe
you,
I'm not doing it enough then.
I don't know, you need to do more baking or something. And then this one is like you're holding a TV, right? Big TV into the house. Yep. This one is when you're doing the shoulder press, right? Yeah, there, there you go. The one hand is a high five to God. The two hand is, I guess, double high five to God.
I don't know what this has been my whole life. I've been missing out on this.
Yeah, dude, come
Never
on,
heard.
dude. These are the classic churchy things that you need to know.
Oh, okay.
It's churchy for dummies, right? And actually, here's a funny story, Joseph. When I was in middle school, because I was raised in the church and I was caught up in churchy things, and I was trying to look like the most churchy church boy on the block.
Oh man.
I'm like, I'm gonna develop my own hand raise move, like an OG one that I created. So I did my hands like this, like a kind of wide receiver catch, right?
Ooh.
And I called it the trifecta.
Ooh, the
Yeah.
triune God.
Yeah, praising the triune God with the trifecta, baby. And I would actually pull it out sometimes, dude. I'm like, is
I
anybody
would have
watching?
definitely bullied you
Yeah,
in
probably.
middle school.
Yeah, because I was homeschooled in middle school, so that probably adds it. That takes my churchiness to, no offense to homeschoolers, but takes that churchiness to even a higher level of, oh my goodness,
Oh,
awkward.
you were there.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, is that cute girl watching me do the trifecta? Yeah, I bet that she really digs this. The OG
Well,
church riz.
if you're homeschooled, is that cult girl your sister or your mom?
Okay, no, I mean, at youth group, bro. Like, I still with the youth group. Gosh.
Oh, okay.
I'm not completely a recluse to social gatherings.
Oh man.
Oh man. But yeah, so the church, the hand raises, the raise them and praise them, baby. Why do we do that, right? Because that is a big thing when maybe you're watching this and you are an unbeliever and you're like, man, why do you guys raise your hands? Like, seems kind of weird, but what's the purpose behind it? So Joseph, if you want to go ahead and start us off, why do Christians raise their hands when they're worshiping the Lord?
Yeah, I know when I first started going to church and everything, I was like, what's the purpose of this? I was like, I always see people doing it. You always see the people, especially in the front row. I mean, like,
Ooh.
I was always a back row Baptist.
There you go.
No
Yep.
offense to the Baptists, but yeah, I was just always like, what's the point? What's the reasoning for it? Because I was like, am I not doing this right? Am I not doing this whole Christian thing right? Or is there different levels to it? Am I like beginner? Those are intermediate. Oh man, I would hate to see what experts look like.
Right, yeah.
But so I was just, as I've deepened my relationship with God, I've started to understand more of the reasoning for it, and that's more of an intimate relationship with God is the word I want to use there, because man, when I had a shallow relationship with God, when I was just beginning, I was like, I don't feel any need to throw my hands up or even sing the words. I was that guy that sat there with my arms crossed and just kind
Just the scowl, the Bill Belichick post-interview scowl.
of, yeah. I was just like, what's the point of this? I was like, worship's stupid. I was like, I hate singing.
Yeah.
But man, now I'm throwing those hands up. I'm like, what is this one again? The bakery?
Yeah, the cake in the oven one.
Cakery. I'm like, double high five to Jesus. Nah, I mean,
Do you have combos?
Oh yeah, like what is that game called? Just Dance.
Just church edition.
Yeah. No, but it's to really just give it all to God. That intimacy with God. It's me one-on-one with Him. Just kind of, I mean, just laying it down to Him. I'm like, God, I'm taking this to you. I'm praising you. I'm worshiping you, God. This is me and you moment. Everybody else around me, I mean, somebody could be judging me now, just like I was judging James back in the day.
True,
but,
man. The tables
I mean,
have turned.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know because that moment's just for me and God. That's me either laying it down to God, giving it all to God, or that's me just, thanking God. Like, oh man, where would I be without you, kind of thing.
Wow. Love it, Joseph.
Yeah.
Man, you seem like an expert now.
Oh yeah.
So I got a question for you. So you mentioned that raising your hands is like a demonstration of your intimacy and deepness with the Lord. So does that mean the more you raise a hand means the more intimate you are, or can there be people that have intimate relationship with the Lord but still choose to maybe not be as expressive?
Yeah. So I mean, there's different ways to show your love to God. Some people it's worship, some people it's serving or volunteering, or I mean, there's a ton of different ways of showing your love to God. Sometimes it's quiet time. I'm not even that big of a worship guy per se. Like I don't go on home and like throw on the worship
Like music worship.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, but as I've gotten to grow my relationship with God and kind of learn what my relationship with God looks like, He's kind of opened the door for different ways of like worshiping or praising Him, and that has been worship. I've never been a big worship guy. I was always that guy that was like, it's kind of useless. I was like, I don't see the point. I was like, get to the meat of this thing.
Yeah.
I was like, hour and a half for what?
Yeah, right. So I feel like they do so many songs. Man, yeah. Especially if you're not
my legs are shaking.
It's
only
song 2. It's like you pick your church based on how many worship songs they do.
I was like, oh shoot, it's worship night.
Yeah. Yeah. Not coming to the worship night. Yeah.
Note to self, I did do that a few times.
Oh,
Youth
really?
group, I was like, I'm not going to worship night.
All about confession here on Thriving Down.
I know. Giving it to God and James, apparently. And
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah. The whole watching world.
Everybody. Nobody's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, it was just as I grow my relationship with God, it just shows that, and for me, it shows Him that I'm kind of just giving it to Him. I mean, I don't think there's a difference between somebody that sits there with their hands down. They could be honestly be doing it better than even me. I mean, there's no levels or like I was joking about it before, like that intermediate beginner. Like there's no status when it comes to worshiping God. It's you and it's solely between you and Him at the end of the day. And that's whether that's surface level Christianity or you are the deepest prayer warrior that you know, or I mean, like it doesn't matter how you worship God. It's all about you and Him in that moment.
It's good. I like that. That's some good stuff right there, Joseph. And we get probably the most important lesson there, right? It's all about the posture of the heart, right? If you're raising your hands, but your heart's not in it, then you're looking like a fool for no reason. Unless you're in a context where people see it as an esteemed hierarchy, like you see more spiritual type thing. And if that's the case, then you need to get more lost people in your church if we're having a competition over how spiritual we can look. So yeah. So good thoughts on that. Yeah, let the Lord lead. If the Lord leads you, if you are intimate with the Lord and your heart's in the right place in a posture of worship, you'll know when the Lord wants you to put your hands up or not, right? You'll be the Spirit will compel you to raise your hands,
The
right?
power of Christ compels you.
Right, because I know I've had intimate times with the Lord where I didn't raise my hands, and that's fine. And I had intimate times where I did raise my hands, right? It's between the person and the Lord. So don't be looking to your left and right, and that's big. And especially for high schoolers and middle schoolers, they're so self-conscious of what they look
Peer
like.
pressure.
Yeah. But even adults can be that way too. And it's like, I don't care what people think, right? Because people are going to think something. You can't control what people think. What you can control is you and your connection with the Lord, right? So I encourage you, raise those hands if the Lord is leading you to it. But don't do it if you're doing it to be, I don't know, look at me, I'm so spiritual.
Following the crowd.
Yeah, that too, following the crowd. Everyone's doing it, so I probably should too. Yeah, 100%. Oh, that's another churchy thing too, right? When one person goes up, like everybody goes up.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.